Hey, this is Pamela Raymond Schneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services, and this is the Produce Reporter Week in Review coming to you live from CPMA.
Nice. I'm not there, but I'm Canadian in spirit.
I don't know if that one would be popular around here on the West Coast.
Well, they're not in the playoffs, so they're not anyone's bother.
Actually, you know what? That's valid. I've seen a lot of different jerseys around here. Of course, on Tuesday night, a lot of the folks had to choose between going to the Canucks game and going to the reception. But having gone to the reception, I don't think they were missing too many because it was packed. And so far, from what I'm seeing and from what I'm hearing from most folks who I've talked to here on the trade show floor, it's pretty well attended. Of course, the West Coast is tough because a lot of the East Coast guys don't bring their full rig out here for the big booths, and it's particularly noticeable when a lot of the big flashy ones are the greenhouse guys. But most of the people I talked to said, hey, we talked to all the customers that we were hoping to talk to, and traffic flow has been pretty steady. And this being, so I'm right in front of the CPMA booth, which is, I don't know, I think they have started happy hour already. So it's pretty crowded over here, but the show floor, like aisles, are not a crush of people like we see in the regional trade shows that are so popular in the US, where it's like the 10 by 10 booths cramming as many people in here. It's a little bit looser in here, but most folks that I talked to said that has not affected the quality of the conversations they're having at all.
That's good. So what are the big issues that they talk about in the education and the big event type of things?
So of course, and here's something that when I was in line for brunch this morning, the three folks behind me were all members of the Canadian Parliament. And so struck up a conversation with them talking about, why are you here? And they said that this is one of the areas that they really feel like there are a ton of pieces of legislation that really affect agriculture, that affect food. We're talking about carbon offsets and plastic are two big ones. And then, of course, the bill talking about creating something that's PACA-like here in Canada. And I asked them because I noticed that they were not the only ones who were parliamentarians who are here. They were given kind of a call out, a shout out in the head table. And I'm like, was that something that CPMA had done to bring them to the show? And they said, no, they came on their own. And so they were recognized for being here, but they said that agriculture is so important to their constituency and to some of the things that they're legislating that they really thought that they needed to be here.
One of the things that's different in Canada than the US is with retail inflation, Canadian grocers are taking more heat than American grocers take, including from the Parliament. Was there any talk about that or any forward progress there?
Not a lot of solutions as far as food costs. It was mentioned in the state of the industry given by CPMA President Ron Lemaire, but there aren't very many answers other than it's really tough to manage this stuff when we're getting regulations pushed down on us and then food costs pushed up. I have seen, and I even did a tour at a grower here in Canada talking about a lot of the growers are trying to reinforce Canadian grown to try to talk about mitigating some of the food costs. When I was on the retail tour, I did notice some of the prices, for example, like in one of the stores, one of the bags of salad that I know in my neighborhood is $3.99. It was $8.99 for a salad kit. Like, that's outrageous. So they've got a point, and these prices are really pinching a lot of Canadian consumers. And so I feel like people are all aware of it, but there weren't a lot of solutions talked about other than, you know, we're in talks. We're trying to make sure that our government understands what's going on in the market, and we're doing our best.
All right. Well, back in the U.S. retail world, we had an update on the Kroger Albertsons divestiture to CNS and not FTC related. FTC hasn't released anything, but Kroger and Albertsons said that they plan to increased the store count that they would divest by 166 to a total of 579 stores. And then they also released what states that they were going to divest in. And it's very heavy in the Pacific Northwest. Over 120 stores in Washington, 60 in California, 60 in Oregon, and then another 90 in Colorado, over 100 in Arizona. So very, very much on the West. Is that when you looked into where they had a lot of overlap, didn't you notice a lot of it was in the West and that was going to be a problem for them?
Yeah, it does not surprise me at all that the concentration is in the Pacific Northwest, especially the West. I mean, the headquarters of Albertsons is in Boise, and a lot of the Safeway stores that were purchased by Albertsons back in the day were in the Northwest. And if you remember when Safeway and Albertsons merged, they divested a ton of Hagen stores, and some of those Hagens came back. So Hagen's gonna have like a little circular economy there.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising, but it was surprising too. Well, okay, it's not. But QFC was, in my opinion, when I go store checking, was like a more upscale seeming version of Kroger, and the Fred Meyers that are in the same market are more like a big supermarket, supermarket.
Yeah, kind of like
Like,
almost like a Walmart or Super Target.
yeah. So I feel like they're more like this Kroger that I saw in Houston, where you can actually buy jeans. You know what I'm saying? So to see that they're shedding off the QFCs kind of showed you which direction they're looking. They're looking at big stores. They're looking at maybe more ubiquitous Walmart competitors than a smaller, more premium seeming store. So that's one way to look at it. Kind of gives you a little clue on the direction of what Kroger's looking to do once they hopefully get approval. Announcing more divestitures did kind of send the stock market for them into a tizzy, because it kind of makes people feel uneasy because there's uncertainty. So there's buying and selling. A lot of sell-off happened when they first announced it, but I'm sure it's all calmed down by now. But yeah, that concentration of stores was not surprising. Selling off Mariano's also is similar to the QFC sales. So getting rid of a banner that was incredibly successful until Kroger bought it, until Roundy's bought it.
They mentioned Cars and Hagen's as well.
Those
Banners
those
that
are
were
both
sold to CNS.
a little smaller formats, a little more premium-ish. I'm not saying that they're like a Whole Foods or a Central Market, but they were a little nicer than just like a standard Kroger grocery store.
Okay, well, we will continue to follow that, and I'll let you get back to CPMA. Our readers and viewers will see all of our coverage next week in our special Expo edition of the newsletter, the Produce Report.
All right. Well, that's it for the Produce Reporter Week in Review. If you are not getting the Produce Reporter newsletter, you need to sign up because, like we said, that CPMA special edition will be going out next week with all of my coverage from the show floor. I'm still looking for those trends, so I got a little time.
Enjoy.